If you're a man over 60 and you've been feeling less like yourself in the bedroom, if your morning erections have faded, your energy feels flat, and your confidence just isn't what it used to be, then listen closely, because the problem might not be your age. It might be your breakfast. I'm Dr. John Kennedy, a urologist and men's health expert with over 30 years of clinical experience. And what I've discovered after working with thousands of older men is shocking. Some of most common vegetables you're eating for breakfast, yes, the very ones marketed as healthy, are silently killing your erections. These foods are disrupting your hormones, lowering your testosterone, inflaming your arteries, and cutting off the blood flow that's absolutely essential for strong, reliable performance. It sounds crazy, I know. After all, we've been told for years that vegetables are always good for us. But when it comes to male sexual health, after 60, the science tells a different story. There are 7 specific vegetables you need to avoid first thing in the morning, and in this video, I'm going to reveal all 7, explain exactly why they're dangerous, and show you what to eat instead to naturally restore your blood flow, energy, and confidence. And make sure you stay with me until the end, because I'll also share a simple morning routine that's helping men regain firm, lasting erections in just 10 days. Let's begin. Before we dive into these 7 breakfast mistakes, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss vital health advice that could change your life after 60. And if this video speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. And let me know how I can better support your health journey. So now let's get into it. Starting with the first vegetable you need to watch out for. It's one that many men think is a heart-healthy choice, especially at breakfast. You'll find it in smoothies, veggie scrambles, even plant-based sausages. But the truth is, for men over 60, it can be one of the worst things for your testosterone. I'm talking about soy-based vegetables. 1. Soy-based vegetables, the testosterone thief. This one hits close to home for me because I've seen far too many well-intentioned men fall into this trap. Soy-based vegetables like edamame soy sprouts and even those so-called plant-based breakfast patties are often marketed as healthy alternatives. And for women or younger people, maybe they are. But for men over 60, they can be devastating. I had a patient, Gerald, a 68-year-old retired school teacher who came into my clinic with a quiet sense of frustration. His words still echo in my memory. "Doc, I still love my wife, but my body's just not cooperating anymore." When we looked at his diet, breakfast was full of soy milk, in his coffee tofu scramble on toast, and a handful of edamame on the side. On the surface, it seemed healthy, but inside his body, those phytoestrogens in soy were mimicking estrogen, pushing down his testosterone levels, and silently choking off the very drive that once made him feel alive. We made a few changes, cut the soy, added some testosterone-friendly fats and greens, and within a couple weeks, he told me it's like I got a part of myself back. That moment, that confidence returning to his voice, that's why I do what I do. Soy may not harm everyone, but if you're a man over 60 and eating it daily, especially in the butt soy, isn't the only silent threat sitting on your breakfast plate. There's another common vegetable that seems harmless, almost elegant even, but inside your body, it stirs up inflammation that quietly shuts down blood flow. And that means trouble where it matters most. Let's talk about it. If you're still here and this message is resonating with you, drop a number 1 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. Now, let's keep going. Point number 2 is one you've probably never suspected. 2. Eggplant, the inflammation igniter. I'll be honest with you, this one surprised me too when I first saw the data. Eggplant. It seems so innocent, doesn't it? It's light, it's colorful, and it shows up in a lot of health-conscious recipes. But here's what most men don't know, especially after 60. Eggplant belongs to a group called nightshades, and for some men, especially those with age-related sensitivity or mild arthritis, these vegetables can trigger a slow, steady wave of inflammation in the body. I remember working with a man named Carl, 72 years old, sharp-minded, full of life, but increasingly frustrated with his declining performance. He wasn't on medication, his labs were mostly fine, but something just felt off. When we dug into his habits, his wife had recently started cooking more Mediterranean-style breakfasts. Sounds healthy, right? Lots of olive oil, grilled eggplant tomatoes, even a bit of goat cheese. But Carl was eating eggplant 4 mornings a week. He had no idea it could be contributing to his vascular inflammation. You see, chronic inflammation narrows your arteries, even the tiny ones responsible for healthy blood flow down there. That means less oxygen, less firmness, and longer recovery times. We removed the eggplant, brought in some anti-inflammatory greens, and foods rich in nitric oxide. And Carl told me with a wink that breakfast was feeling a lot more satisfying again. It's incredible what one small change can do. But don't get too comfortable yet, because the next vegetable is one that's marketed as heart healthy, even cancer fighting. But the way most people consume it could be doing more harm than good. And if it comes in a can, you'll want to hear this. Canned tomatoes, especially with BPA-lined cans. Tomatoes are one of those foods that seem untouchable. They're packed with antioxidants good for the heart, and often praised for their cancer-fighting benefits. And all of that can be true if they're fresh. But when they come out of a can, especially one lined with BPA, the story changes entirely. I remember a patient named Franklin66 who was trying to clean up his diet. He made a real effort, cut back on red meat, started eating more plant-based meals, and swapped out sugary cereals for eggs and canned tomato salsa each morning. He was proud of the switch, but strangely, he started experiencing more fatigue, weaker erections, and less morning arousal than ever before. He was frustrated and confused. When we looked at his hormone panel, his testosterone was dipping. Then I asked him what kind of canned tomatoes he was using. Sure enough, they weren't BPA-free. Most people don't realize that BPA bisphenol A is a chemical found in the lining of many canned goods. It's a synthetic estrogen, and it leaches especially easily into acidic foods like tomatoes. For men over 60, BPA is a quiet hormone disruptor. It lowers testosterone, increases abdominal fat, and shrinks blood vessels, the very things you need to preserve as you age. Testosterone, blood flow, vitality are the very things BPA undermines. Once Franklin made the switch to fresh tomatoes or glass-jarred versions, his energy came roaring back within 2 weeks. Now, tomatoes are acidic, but the next vegetable on this list is a different kind of threat. It isn't about hormones, it's about salt. Too much of it. Too early in the day, and the way it's prepared may be quietly squeezing the life out of your circulation. Let me show you why. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, go ahead and comment the number 1 below so I know you're here and engaged. Let's keep it going. Point number 4 might change the way you look at your breakfast forever. 4. Pickled vegetables, the salted circulation killer. Pickled vegetables might remind you of simpler times. Maybe your mother or grandmother kept jars of them in the kitchen. Or maybe you still enjoy them with your morning eggs. They taste sharp, tangy, even refreshing. But for men over 60, that salty crunch can come with a hidden cost. I remember talking to Warren, a 70-year-old retired firefighter. He was a strong man, disciplined, with a lifetime of good habits behind him. But lately, he told me things just weren't working like they used to. His words were quiet. I feel disconnected from my body. As we talked, I asked about his breakfast. He mentioned he always added a few pickled beets or cucumbers to his morning plate, thinking they were a gut-friendly, low-calorie choice. What he didn't realize was that those pickled vegetables were packed with sodium and acidic preservatives, both of which constrict blood vessels and elevate blood pressure. And when that happens, the arteries that lead to the penis, the smallest, most sensitive ones, are the first to suffer. That means less blood flow, less sensitivity, and weaker erections. When Warren cut them out and replaced them with potassium-rich, blood flow-friendly veggies, it was like someone flipped a switch. It's coming back, he told me. Slowly. But it's coming back. The truth is, pickled foods may be fine in moderation, but starting your day with them, that's a mistake too many men pay for in silence. But salt isn't the only silent saboteur. There's another vegetable coming next that most people think is completely harmless. Natural, earthy, and even romantic in a way. But when eaten raw and early in the day, it can wreck your gut and rob you of vital nutrients your testosterone depends on. Let's talk about it. Onions. When eaten raw on an empty stomach. Now this one might surprise you. Onions have long been praised for their heart health, their antioxidants, even their circulation-boosting properties. And all of that is true, but only in the right context. I had a patient named Douglas74 who had read an article online about raw onions increasing testosterone. He figured why not give it a try, so every morning before anything else, he'd eat a few slices of raw red onion with water and toast. It didn't take long before he started experiencing discomfort, gas bloating, and an odd sense of heaviness in his gut. But the worst part, his energy dipped and his erections started to weaken. He came in confused, almost embarrassed, thinking maybe it was just age catching up with him. But after digging into his routine, it was clear. The raw onions, especially on an empty stomach, were irritating his gastrointestinal tract, leading to poor nutrient absorption, particularly zinc and B vitamins, which are absolutely essential for testosterone production and strong sexual function. His body was trying to do the right thing, but it was working against itself. When we shifted his onion intake to lunch or dinner and made sure he was eating zinc-rich foods earlier in the day, the difference was remarkable. He laughed and said, "Turns out timing really is everything." But raw onions aren't the only common veggie that can quietly sabotage your hormones. There's another one coming next one that's often called a superfood. But when you overcook it or microwave it, it turns against your body, interfering with one mineral no man can afford to lose. Let's dive in. 6. Spinach. When overcooked or microwaved, spinach has a glowing reputation. It's the poster child of Health Popeye's favorite, packed with iron, fiber, and nutrients we've been told to eat since we were kids. And yes, it can be wonderful for your body when prepared the right way. But here's what most men over 60 don't realize. When you overcook spinach, or worse, microwave it until it wilts down into a soggy pile, you're doing more harm than good. I had a longtime patient, Steve, a 63-year-old veterinarian who prided himself on eating clean. Every morning, he'd scramble some eggs with heavily steamed spinach, microwave it all together, and feel like he was doing something good for his heart. But after several months, he started noticing lower drive, weaker erections, and a strange stiffness in his lower back and joints and libido. When I looked at his diet and labs, the problem came into focus. His zinc levels had dropped significantly. Overcooked spinach releases compounds called oxalates, which can bind to calcium and zinc in your gut, preventing absorption. And zinc isn't optional. It's essential for testosterone sperm production and the vascular strength needed for firm erections. Once Steve switched to lightly sautéed spinach, just enough to soften it without destroying its structure, and began combining it with olive oil and pumpkin seeds, things turned around fast. His energy improved, and he told me he felt like his body was back on his side again. But the next vegetable is a tricky one. It's known for boosting circulation and lowering blood pressure, two things you'd think would help your erections. And they can, but not when it's eaten the wrong way. Most men get this one completely backwards. Let's clear it up. Garlic. Nature's paradox. Only raw on empty stomach. Garlic is one that nature's most powerful gifts. It's been used for centuries to lower blood pressure, support heart health, and even improve circulation. On paper, it sounds like a dream for men over 60 hoping to restore vitality and performance. And in many cases, it is. But here's the twist. Not all garlic is helpful, especially when it's raw and taken on an empty stomach. I still remember John, a 73-year-old former engineer, who came to see me after months of digestive discomfort and fading intimacy. He was doing everything he thought was right, walking every day, drinking plenty of water, and each morning swallowing a clove of raw garlic, because he read online it would open up his blood vessels. But what it actually did was irritate his stomach lining, spike his acid reflux, and led to bloating and poor nutrient absorption. His zinc levels plummeted, his nitric oxide production dipped, and his erections followed suit. Garlic indifference was dramatic. When we replaced raw garlic with aged garlic extract, taken after breakfast, instead of before, the difference was dramatic. John called me 2 weeks later and said, "Doc, I feel 10 years younger." And my wife noticed too. That's the kind of result that stays with you. But now that we've uncovered these 7 hidden landmines on your breakfast plate, the next question is obvious and urgent. If these are the wrong foods, then what should you eat instead to restore blood flow, strengthen testosterone, and bring back that natural spark in the morning? Let's talk about the breakfast that actually builds you up, not breaks you down. 8. So, what should you eat instead? After hearing about the 7 vegetables that may be quietly working against your body, it's natural to wonder, what can you eat that actually supports your energy, your circulation, and your masculinity? The good news is you don't need a complicated plan or expensive supplements. You just need to feed your body what it's really asking for. I've worked with countless men over 60 who felt hopeless until they made a few key changes at breakfast. Men like Robert, 71, who told me, "I just want to wake up feeling like myself again." For him, it started with a simple plate: 2 soft-boiled eggs, a few slices of avocado, some lightly steamed broccoli, and a handful of pumpkin seeds. That's it. Nothing fancy, just real food that's rich in healthy fats, zinc B vitamins, and natural nitric oxide boosters. Within 2 weeks, he was waking up with energy again, not just physically, but emotionally. He said, I didn't realize how much I missed feeling connected to my body and to my wife. These foods don't just support blood flow, they nourish the systems that keep you feeling like a man: your heart, your hormones, and your confidence. If you want to add even more power to your morning, try a small glass of beetroot juice or pomegranate tea. Both help open up your blood vessels and get that circulation moving where it needs to go. But this isn't just about food, it's about something much deeper: your choices, your mindset, and the silent habits that shape your future. And in this final message, I want to speak to you directly, man to man, about what's really at stake and how much more you're still capable of. Let's bring it home. 9. Final takeaway. At this point, you've learned the truth that most men over 60 are never told. The vegetables you believed were helping you may actually be holding you back. We uncovered how soy-based foods can steal your testosterone, how innocent-looking eggplant and canned tomatoes stir up inflammation or hormone disruption, how pickled vegetables and raw onions quietly sabotage blood flow, and how even so-called superfoods like spinach and garlic can do more harm than good if eaten the wrong way. And just as important, we talked about what to eat instead: simple, nourishing foods that work with your body, not against it. 10. Final takeaway. But more than all the science and the strategies, I hope you walk away with this. You are not past your prime. You are not broken. I've seen men in their 70s and 80s take back control of their health, their confidence, and yes, even their sex lives, just by making small, consistent changes. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. Your body is still responding to you. It always has been. Sometimes it just takes listening a little closer. If you've been feeling stuck or unsure, I want you to know you're not alone and you're not too late. Your next chapter doesn't have to be about decline. It can be about renewal energy and reconnection. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up and make that first meal, remember every bite is a message to your body. Make it one that says, I'm not giving up, I'm just getting started. If this video spoke to you, if it gave you clarity, hope, or even just a new perspective, please take a moment to like it, share it with a friend who might need it, and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your story, or simply a thank you if this helped. And if you'd like to support this channel so I can keep bringing you real honest health advice for men over 60, feel free to leave a small donation using the link in the description. Every bit helps me reach more men just like you. Stay strong and stay connected.